If I told you that your entire life could shift in just 30 days, not in a dramatic, unrealistic movie-style transformation, but in a deep, meaningful, permanent way, would you believe it? Most people have no idea how close they are to changing their lives. They think transformation requires luck, talent, endless discipline, or massive sacrifices. But the truth? The greatest changes in life usually begin with the smallest, simplest habits. And the number one habit that can change your life in 30 days is surprisingly straightforward. Daily intentional reflection. Not journaling for hours. Not meditation marathons. Not forcing yourself into unrealistic productivity. Just 10 minutes every day where you sit, slow your mind, and ask yourself 5 life-changing questions. What did I do today? What did I learn today? What did I slip today? What am I grateful for today? What is the one thing I will improve tomorrow? This habit seems simple, almost too simple, but that's what makes it powerful. Reflection creates awareness. Awareness creates clarity. Clarity creates direction. Direction creates discipline. And discipline creates success. It reconnects you with your purpose. It stops you from repeating the same mistakes. It rewires your brain to notice progress, opportunity, and growth. And most importantly, it breaks the autopilot mode that traps most people in the same cycles for years. When you start reflecting daily, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. Over the next chapters, you'll understand why this habit is so transformational, how it rewires your mind, and how to make it stick for 30 days straight. If you commit to this habit, just 10 minutes a day, it will not only change your weeks, it will change your mindset, your habits, your discipline, and your entire sense of direction. Before we move into the next chapter, if you're finding value already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop powerful self-improvement audiobooks and mindset-shifting content every day, all designed to push you closer to the life you want. Go ahead and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. If the world is overflowing with motivational content, self-help books, and success stories, why do so many people stay stuck? Why do people wake up every day wanting more, yet end every year exactly where they started? It's not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, not because they're unlucky, but because they're unaware. Most people live every day without ever looking back at how they lived it. They move from one day to the next, dealing with problems, emotions, chores, and routines, but never pausing long enough to understand why they repeat the same patterns. Think about it. You can't fix what you don't notice. You can't grow from what you don't reflect on. And you can't change what you don't measure. Daily reflection interrupts this cycle. It turns unconscious habits into conscious ones. It turns problems into patterns. It turns mistakes into lessons. It turns effort into progress you can actually see. Most people don't change because they only think about their life when something goes wrong, when they lose a job, when a relationship breaks, when they hit rock bottom. Reflection gives you the power to change before things fall apart. It creates a daily feedback loop, a personal roadmap for growth. In just 30 days, you begin noticing things like repeated triggers, wasted time, emotional cycles, hidden strengths, opportunities you were blind to, habits that were holding you back, and the transformation feels almost magical. But it's not magic. It's awareness. Once you can see your life clearly, you can shape it deliberately. Don't forget to take a moment to subscribe to this channel. If you're committed to becoming the best version of yourself, you'll want to stay connected. We release powerful self-development audiobooks, life-changing mindsets, and timeless lessons designed to elevate your life every single day. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss the growth you deserve. People love the idea of self-improvement until they try to build a habit. Then it suddenly becomes overwhelming. That's why this transformation begins with something simple. A 10-minute daily practice you could do anywhere, anytime. Here's how to build it. 1. Choose your daily trigger. A trigger is something you already do every day. It could be waking up, brushing your teeth, drinking morning tea or coffee, getting into bed at night. Habit building is easier when tied to an existing routine. 2. Create a 10-minute safe space. not a physical safe space, a mental one. This is the space where you don't judge yourself, you don't pretend, you don't minimize your wins, you don't hide your mistakes, you don't hold back your honesty. Honesty is what makes this habit powerful. 3. Use the same 5 questions every day. These questions train your mind to think in a structured way. Today's actions, today's lessons, today's mistakes, today's gratitude, tomorrow's improvement. This format rewires your brain to grow on autopilot. 4. Keep it short. Perfection destroys progress. Long sessions feel overwhelming. Short sessions create consistency. Consistency creates change. 5. Track only one thing. Every day, write down, what is one thing I improved today? In 30 days, you'll have 30 improvements. That's how a life transforms. The brain is not a fixed machine. It's a flexible, adaptable system rewired by habit, repetition, and intentional thought. Daily reflection taps into 4 psychological principles that create rapid change. 1. The feedback loop effect. Humans grow when they understand cause and effect. Reflection helps you see how your thoughts influence your actions, how your actions influence your results, and how your results can transform your identity. 2. Neuroplasticity. Every time you reflect, you break old pathways and strengthen new ones. The brain literally reshapes itself in response to conscious evaluation. This is why 30 days is enough to create noticeable change. 3. Identity shift. When you reflect daily, you stop seeing yourself as the person you were and start seeing yourself as the person you are becoming. Identity drives behavior. If you begin to think like a disciplined person, you start acting like one. 4. The self-awareness advantage. Self-awareness is the hidden superpower of high performers. It's the difference between people who grow continuously and those who repeat the same year of life over and over again. Daily reflection strengthens this superpower. The first 7 days of this habit will feel like a quiet awakening, the moment when the lights begin to turn on in a house you've been living in for years. Not because you didn't know the rooms existed, but because you've never seen them this clearly. When you begin daily reflection, your mind shifts from reacting to observing, and that alone is powerful. In the first few days, something interesting happens. You begin noticing yourself, your choices, your patterns, your impulses, your reactions. For the first time in a long time, you're not just living, you're paying attention. You might catch yourself asking questions like, why did I do that? Why did that situation drain my energy so much? Why do I always postpone this task? Why does this person influence my emotions? This awareness is not uncomfortable. It is liberating. It's like watching your life from the outside for the first time. And because you're now observing yourself, you begin to understand things you didn't notice before. Where your time is really going. What you do when you're stressed. The habits you repeat without thinking. How your mood influences your decisions. What triggers you to procrastinate. What motivates you to take action. It's eye-opening. Not dramatic. Not overwhelming. Just clear. These small realizations are the seeds of transformation. Most people never change because they never see what needs changing. But in the first 7 days, you start to see the truth of your daily life. And that awareness alone shifts your direction. On day 4 or 5, something else happens. You start becoming more intentional, even without trying. You begin catching yourself in the moment. You're about to waste time on your phone, and suddenly you pause. You're about to snap at someone, and a tiny voice inside you whispers, "Is that who I want to be?" You feel yourself procrastinating, and another part of you gently nudges you forward. These are early signs of your identity shifting. By the end of the first week, you'll realize something powerful. Your life didn't change dramatically, but your relationship with your life did. You're no longer sleepwalking through your days. You are awake, aware, present. And that is the first step toward unstoppable growth. The second week is where the fog begins to lift, where the insights from the first week turn into clarity. During these 7 days, your mind becomes sharper, your awareness becomes deeper, and you start connecting dots that you've never connected before. You begin to notice patterns, the habits you repeat every morning, the tasks you always avoid, the people who elevate your energy, the ones who drain it, the beliefs that hold you back, the fears you pretend you don't have. These patterns were always there, but you were too busy to see them. Now, with daily reflection, you begin to understand the why behind your behavior. For example, you may realize that you procrastinate at the same time every day, not because you're lazy, but because you're mentally drained. Or you may notice that you argue with the same person about the same things, not because you're incompatible, but because there's an unspoken expectation. You may realize that your stress peaks at predictable moments, not because life is chaotic, but because you're juggling too much without clarity. This week is about alignment. The more clarity you gain, the easier it becomes to adjust your life. Here's the magic part. Clarity naturally creates discipline. People don't struggle with discipline because they're weak. They struggle because they're unclear. When you know exactly what you want to improve tomorrow, when you know exactly what triggers your bad habits, when you know exactly what energizes or drains you, discipline becomes automatic. In week 2, you also begin to realize how much noise exists in your daily life. Noise from distractions, people, obligations, and digital overload. So you start choosing differently. You start reducing what doesn't matter. You begin tightening your focus. You start valuing your time more. You stop allowing everything to access your attention. This is the week where you begin taking control of your life, not forcefully, but consciously. And clarity is the foundation of all change. By the 3rd week, something powerful happens, momentum. Your reflection habit no longer feels like something you need to remember. Your mind begins doing it automatically. It's becoming wired into your identity. This is what psychologists call the breakthrough zone, the point where consistency begins to shape character. During these days, you may notice yourself changing in subtle, yet profound ways. You respond slower but wiser. You think before acting. You start choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. You avoid distractions more easily. You feel more in control. You start trusting yourself again. This shift isn't accidental. It's the direct result of 14 days of conscious awareness building a new mental structure. Your brain is now actively learning from your reflections. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every insight becomes direction. Every success becomes motivation. Every challenge becomes training. Your identity begins to shift from, I want to improve, to I am improving every day. This is the chapter where people normally quit with other habits. But reflection keeps you anchored. You see the progress. You feel the momentum. You understand yourself more deeply than ever before. You realize that the old version of you, the procrastinator, the self-doubter, the inconsistent one, is slowly losing its grip. And the new you, aware, intentional, focused, determined, is getting stronger every day. By day 21, a powerful truth becomes clear. You're no longer trying to change your life. You are changing your life. The final stretch is where everything comes together. These last 8 days solidify your transformation, locking the habit into your identity. At this stage, reflection feels natural. It's no longer something you do. It's part of who you are. You start noticing deeper things, the tone of your thoughts, the emotional patterns behind your decisions, the subtle beliefs that guide your behavior, the way your environment influences your mindset. You begin thinking on a higher level, not just about your day, but about your direction, your purpose, your future. You feel lighter because you're no longer carrying unprocessed thoughts and emotions. You feel calmer because you've created mental order. You feel stronger because you're no longer running from your truth. The last week is also when the people around you begin to notice the difference. You sound more intentional. You look more focused. You make decisions faster and with more confidence. You react less and respond more. Your energy shifts quietly but unmistakably, and you begin treating yourself better, not out of motivation, but out of understanding. By the end of day 30, you realize something profound. Your external life has begun to shift because your internal life has transformed first. This final chapter prepares you for the next stage of your journey, sustaining your new identity. Now that you understand how the habit works, here is the blueprint for repeating your transformation anytime you want. A simple, powerful 30-day plan that keeps your growth steady. Daily practice. Every day, without fail. Spend 10 minutes reflecting. Answer the 5 life-changing questions. Identify one improvement for tomorrow. Write down. This daily repetition rewires your mindset. Weekly breakdowns. Every 7 days, review your reflections. Identify patterns. Notice your progress. Adjust what isn't working. Weekly reviews help you grow faster because you see the bigger picture. Monthly reset. At the end of the month, read all your reflections. List your top 10 improvements. Set one major focus for the next month. Celebrate your growth. You don't need to transform your entire life every month. You only need to transform one habit at a time. This plan ensures you never plateau. You will always be evolving, improving, and upgrading your mindset. This is how you maintain long-term growth without burnout. By this final chapter, the truth becomes clear. A better life doesn't come from dramatic changes. It comes from consistent, intentional reflection. This habit has given you clarity about who you are, awareness of your patterns, direction for your growth, emotional control, mental discipline, higher self-respect. Once you learn how to observe your life honestly, you can shape it deliberately. You become unstoppable not because you are perfect, but because you are aware. And awareness is the foundation of all transformation. You now possess the one skill that separates people who grow continuously from people who repeat the same year of life over and over again. If you continue this habit beyond the 30 days, your future will no longer be a matter of chance. It will be a matter of choice. You are no longer who you were. You are becoming who you were meant to be.